Hey, let's do some sample test questions. I'm looking at number 1 from the unit 2. This is page 2 in your blue packet. Not a lot of space for me to work, so I brought in my own piece of paper. So evaluate the expressions in the functions below. Let j equal -7, k equals 10, and L equals -4. No worries. So here we go. We have 1a. This is the absolute value of 14k squared plus 375 L's minus 2j. So the move here is we're going to plug all these things in here. J is -7. That's going to go where j is. K is 10. That goes here. And then I did that color twice. My mistake. Got distracted. That one's going to be blue. L is -4. This is going to take a little bit of time. Let's do it. So A, we have the absolute value of 14. K is 10. So that's 10 in parentheses. And then we square it. Plus 375. And then we have our L, which is -4. Close the absolute value business. Minus 2 times j, and j is -7. Okay, so now we just play a careful game of PEMDAS. Easier said than done, I know, but let's do this. Exponent. So first we're going to work on everything that's grouped together, everything in the absolute value symbols. We'll deal with this in a little while. Exponents will be first, then we'll do some multiplication. Of course, please have your calculators handy. So now we have the absolute value of 14 times 10 squared. Well, 10 squared is 100 plus 375 times -4, close the absolute value, minus 2 times -7. Okay, so all we did is 10 squared here. Great. Moving on. Again, focusing on the stuff in absolute values. 14 times 100, that's 1400, plus 375 times -4. I'm not going to pretend like I know that off the top of my head, so I'm going to ask my calculator. My calculator says -1500. Great. Minus 2 times -7, still outside. 1400 plus a -1500, that's 1400, or 1400 minus 1500. Well, that's the same thing as saying -100 minus 2, -7, like so. Absolute value of -100, that's positive 100. Remember, the absolute value is just the distance away from 0. And we still have this stuff over here, minus 2 times -7, 100 minus, well, 2 times -7, that's going to be -14. 100 minus a -14, we know when we subtract, numbers get smaller, but when we subtract a negative, it's like an Uno reverse, things actually get bigger. So we end up with 114. That's how I would attack A. Feel free to pause, rewind, do what you need to do, and we're going to get into number B right now. Number B, nice. Letter B. This is J times K times L all over stuff. Okay, so J is -7. K is 10. Being careful to put all these in parentheses, because if we don't, then we might forget to multiply them. We might just end up with some other gross number. 28 times K. K is 10. All right, letters are gone. Let's PEMDAS. I'm going to do the stuff on top, and then we'll do the stuff on, well, we can do the stuff on top and bottom separately, then we'll do some division. This one actually goes pretty quick. -7 times 10 times -4. If you're careful, you can use your calculator for something like this. So check it out. -7 times 10 times -4. So the numerator is 280. I'm going to put it right next to it because I think it's easier for this one to see, especially when we're working with fractions. The bottom, 28 times 10, oh, that's also 280. Oh, interesting. 280 divided by 280, that's 1. How funny. This one looks a whole lot harder than it is. I think the solution's 1. Cool. Let's do C. I'm going to use the same piece of paper here. This one says that f of L equals the square root of k squared plus 9L. Okay. This one's written a little bit differently. Let's see what happens here. So f of L, well, I know that L is -4. And that equals the square root of k squared. So that's 10 squared. 10 squared. squared plus 9L, and we know that L is -4. Okay. Let's see what happens here. So f of -4 equals, we're going to do the stuff underneath the radical first, PEMDASing, exponents first. 10 times 10 is 100, and we're going to add 9 times -4 to that in a moment. So f of -4. The left side's really not changing. Remember, this is not f times -4. We're not going to divide this by -4 and solve for f, nothing like that. F is the name of the function, -4 is the input. We're just going to, the left side just is never going to change in this, this particular equation. We're going to clean up the right side though. Still have a radical, still have 100. We're adding 9 times -4. Well, positive times a negative will be a negative. 9 times 4 is 36. So we're subtracting 36. F of -4 equals square root of, well, if you're not sure what 100 minus 36 is, you can ask your calculator friend and it will tell you 64. So now we're just looking for the square root of 64. Just wrote 6 right there. So we're asking ourselves, what number times itself equals 64? I'm hopeful that you can do like, oh, 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16. Maybe not that quickly, but eventually you could get there. If it's a struggle, you can ask your calculator friend yet again. Notice how here in blue, there's the radical symbol, pressing second, pressing that button, type in 64. Your calculator will do square roots for you. So in this case, it is 8. I shouldn't have written the radical. Yeah, this whole line is just a disaster. Okay, so f of -4 equals 8. That is how I'd finish up part C. Okay, these are sample test questions. You will absolutely have some of these on quiz 2.1. You will absolutely have questions like this on your test. Feel free to rewatch, rewind, do what you need to do. Have a great day.